we are already in a civil war, but we're not aware of it because of the way in which the war is being conducted. It's almost as if it's happening in front of us from the comfort of our phones. Because I always thought about that, the statement, the revolution will not be televised. Or excuse me, what is it? The revolution will be won't be, what is it? I forget the quote. The revolution won't be televised. But there's like more to it. I've always thought like the revolution won't be televised. It'll be live streamed. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like we're in the middle of a culture war, and I think that's symbolic of the Civil War, where there's two factions of America that are competing with one another, and it almost appears as if like it's gonna reach a breaking point where they secede from each other, and they say, you know what, you have your life, we have ours. And I feel like it's becoming more apparent by just like the differences between the identity and what people like believe America should be about. And I feel like it's just like fundamental differences that are not, I don't think they're like, we're ever gonna meet, there's gonna be a middle ground. I don't think there's gonna be a middle ground. Maybe there will be some kind of middle, but I think I don't think people are willing to, I think there's gonna be a huge majority shift where people are split down the middle of it. And it is what it is. I'm like seeing that. And I don't know if that's a good thing or bad, but you know, I was watching some videos about this guy talking about how in every empire it goes through these cycles, and within these cycles is like, it's called a fourth turning. It's like first turning, second turning, third turning. We're in the fourth turning, where there's certain things that happen within a fourth turning, and that is war. And it could be civil war. I think that's what the guy was talking about. He was the guy that was talking about the fourth turning. Essentially, was predicting what would happen. He would predict like an economic collapse. He predicted a pandemic, and he predicted civil war. I wonder if this civil war would be anything that would be violent. I don't know if it's a violent war. I don't know if all war is violent. I don't know what that looks like. You know what I'm saying? We only know what we know from the past, but it could be cyber, it could be digitalized. There could be some violence. And you know what? If there was a civil war, I think what would happen is that they would create, I think whatever or whoever's creating that or focusing on that, I think that what they would do is they would exaggerate it. They would exaggerate the civil war, and they would exaggerate the threat of it and the danger of it in order for us to exchange our freedoms for more safety. I think that's what's going to happen. I think they're going to use that as a control mechanism to keep us afraid of one another. And I think that's just what's going to happen through the media and what we see on television. And I feel like, you know what? I think being aware of this shit, taking a step back, and not being like everybody else who's like so caught up in the mix of it and not able to critically think, analyze, and choosing this, like overly choosing a side and overly being emotional about it, and more looking at it from a more pragmatic perspective, and realizing like, yo, we're all in this bucket together, and we're all being kind of manipulated and controlled for whatever benefit or whatever agenda of power this power structure has, so that we're not divided amongst our families and our communities and our friends and our neighbors and within ourselves. It's pretty wild. And maybe I'm overthinking it, but I feel like the average person isn't thinking enough about it. I feel like we should be talking about it more, you know? But I mean, if people are just struggling to get food on their plate and keep their fucking light bill on, they're not thinking about what's going on. You know what I mean? It's not even like, a lot of people probably feel hopeless. Maybe like, you know, and I feel like the only thing we can do, what we do have, is our voice. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow, I may not have like the ability to, at the moment, just get on a fucking podium and talk to like a bunch of people, but I mean, I can get on my phone, use my voice to talk about things, what's on my mind. You know, and I just think that like this political election, I think it's showing so much how much like politics is about like it's become like weaponized. It's like identity politics, and like what side you on, and like well, it can like it really has real world implications about how someone views you, and how someone like sees you, whether you're in opposition or or you're family, you know. And it's like we're Americans, you know what I mean? And it's like, I guess it's just what it is. It's not fair. It's not going to be some. I think it is what it is, and I think there's an illusion of democracy, and I think there's an illusion of cohesion. But when you go outside, it doesn't seem like that. It doesn't always seem like that. But I think there's real world implications when it comes down to like what you can say, and the job you get, and who your spouse is, and like where you align, and how like who you are. It's like a lot of things. And I think that's why a lot of people don't talk about it. A lot of people don't talk about it because of the fear of being real and just saying like, yo, this is how I feel about this, and these are my viewpoints on it. Because it's almost like it's like so much, it's like a tense, it can be a tense conversation, and it has real world implications to it. So it's like, that's where it has us as people so fucking like, it's like it's the ostrich in the sand approach, because we can't even talk about it socially. There's the social rule of not talking about politics because people are so on edge about it, but then it's happening all the time around us. You know what I mean? And it's like, why? Well, maybe if we could communicate and talk about it in social settings, things would get better. But you know, I don't even know if we, at this point in society, our consciousness is ready. Or just like realness, too much realness. It's like the world is becoming more inauthentic due to the fact that we don't communicate our truths. There's not enough truth communication. And so it just creates this world where it's like, it's just a gap between people. And it's almost like, it's almost like a functioning addict. You know what I mean? It's a functioning gap. And I think that like we learn to tolerate it because it's not the water is not too hot. You know what I'm saying? But what happens when the water gets hot and there's pressure on everybody, and there's like maybe a civil war, and there's something happening? Then it's gonna be like people are gonna be choosing sides. People are gonna be showing you how they really feel. And that's what happens when anything crazy happens. You know what I'm saying? Anything that happens, like a pandemic, you know, Black Lives Matter stuff, like, it's like the riots, George Floyd, like you really start to see like where people stand politically and socially, and how they feel about the world and how they feel about other people, and you see it. And so it's like, that's what in The Forest Turning, the guy was saying is like, war in some capacity is actually good for society, because it makes people more aware, it wakes people up, and it focuses the people on, you know, what really matters. You know what I'm saying? So I guess like when you talk about civil war, people are more afraid of it. It's a fear base, and it's like, man, that would be really, I wouldn't want anyone to be hurt by it. But if that's what we need as a society to evolve, then it's like, fuck, you know what I mean? It's what it is, you know? It's kind of wild. And so it's like, I think sometimes we just want everything to be sunshine and rainbows and everything to be perfect, but it's like not. It's like look at a history book. There's war, there's upheaval, there's coups, there's like outbreaks, there's division. It hasn't always been like a perfect reality. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing I guess, to be thankful. Not I guess, 100,000%. We should all be grateful for the fact that we live in this time period and not in another time period. That would fucking suck, man. At least the problems that we have, you know what I mean? It's not like we're living in, at least we don't have to, at least they just brought back the draft. But imagine like being 19 or 20 years old, like going to, you know, fighting a fucking war, like for real, like World War II type shit. Like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess we're still in it. I mean, I don't know. I guess we're still in it. My father went to Iraq. My father went to Afghanistan. You know what I'm saying? He went through those experiences. But I don't know, man. I think that like right now, if I like the stream, can you yell at the top of your good? Yeah, I already did it. Probably can yell louder if you like the stream. Dude, you're doing great so far, but it's time for you to grab a juice box and have a short nap. You look tired. Thank you. You know, I just woke up actually. Probably in the last couple hours. I probably could use some more rest though. Not gonna lie. I could use more rest. But you know what? Maybe now is the time to like get back to like faith in Christ and God. Like we have to get back to like something that's gonna unite us, and God unites the people. You know what I'm saying? On like a mass scale. I feel like I recognize that within myself. I'm like, man, like there's so many uncontrollables. You know what I mean? And all I can do is like be my best, do my best to be my best. You know what I mean? And I gotta work on just like my character. You know what I mean? And I guess that means going back to God. You know what I mean? Come on, like, at least that's the first. That's the first thing to do. At least getting back to faith. You know what I mean? And so I'm trying to think of like, you know, solutions. I guess the solution, is having faith. And, you know, I just feel like personally, man, when I look at America, sometimes I'm like, fuck, I don't want to have to like, I low-key want to move out of America. I want to move. I'm not saying forever, but I feel like I need to step away from like America and like look at it more objectively. I feel like being in it and trying to make a living in it, me. You know, I'm like, man, there's other places in the world, and maybe I need to step out. You know, I guess, and not everyone can do that, and everybody's going to do that. Most people aren't going to do that, but I ain't most people. You know what I'm saying? And I'm thankful I'm in a position to be able to do that. But I still have family out here that I care about and I love. So, and I feel like to be my best self, I think like, you know, I think getting online, social media, getting online and communicating and speaking our truth is probably a very, very important thing in this time period, in this day and age. Like there's never been a time in history where people had like the ability to connect and really communicate. But a lot of people struggle because they can't say what they want to say. A lot of people live muzzled. We live muzzled. Freedom of speech is like one of the most powerful, just the ability to communicate and say how you feel. Like that's like a powerful, powerful tool. And muzzling of the speech is the first way to weaken a man's mind. Weakening a man's mind is by muzzling them. Easy. So a lot of people live in social fear. I think social fear is another thing like that controls us too. The social fear aspect, you know, if you really want to be liberated, if we want to liberate ourselves and to be more free, we have to free ourselves. That's the only way. We have to free ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We have to free ourselves. And I think that starts with, you know, allowing ourselves to be who we actually are. You know what I'm saying? Allowing yourself. I mean, I think that comes with like real fucking, I don't think that's for everybody. You know what I mean? Not everybody's going to do that. Not everybody's going to try to be, not everyone's going to dedicate themselves to being who they really are. And I think that we're pushed, we're only pressured to be who we really are. We have to draw a line. We have to make a choice. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to have to wait for that. I want to be who I am. I feel like when I look at this life experience and I take a step back from everything that's happening, I'm like, man, what is this all about? Why am I here? What is this, like, what am I supposed to be doing? You know what I mean? Like, and I know that I have to be my best self. I know that. Why would God put you here? Why would you be created to not be doing something that's gonna be bigger than yourself and you pushing yourself to be your best? And so I'm like, I know that for a fact, you know, and I'm like, Me being my best self doesn't mean that everyone's going to agree with my decisions I make. And that doesn't mean I'm always going to be perfect and make the right decision. But if like I'm following that as a North Star, then I think that like, you know, only God can judge me. You know what I mean? I'm like, fuck it. And so like freeing ourselves from that social pressure of needing to conform. Conformity is like such a fucking powerful force, because humans, we're you know, tribalistic, and you know, we're almost like it's in our genetics to conform. And some conformity is healthy to be, you know, be able to move along with the tribe and move along with the society. But the conformity when it comes to politics, your belief, what you think, what you want to say, conforming that is such a fucking like, it's a parasite when our society is like how controllable that is in our minds. Like I feel like it really makes a strong person. It makes for a strong individual who knows how to fucking control their fucking mind and allow themselves to think what they want to fucking think and not conform. And especially when it comes down to like, you know, what you truly believe. And like it's like fuck, like as humans, like man, that's a really test of someone's character. To not conform, to not fucking just like conform and sell out of fear. And there's so many times where I have, and I you know, I check myself. I'm working on myself every day, but I'm aware of it now. I'm like, man, like I really want to be that type of man who like, it's like I'm not going to just conform. You know, I'm not saying that I should be rigid and not see another viewpoint and not see what, you know, maybe some conformity, it does work. But, you know, when you really are going and moving from your fucking heart, and you're really moving from the fucking core, and like having that strong internal fucking frame about what you believe and who the fuck you are, it's like, you know, you're not going to bend. And I want to be that. That's the man I'm like striving to become more. You know what I'm saying? And then the next aspect is the communication aspect of who I am. I think that like maybe that's what our society is lacking, is the fear of being who we really are and communicating our truths. And I think we've created a world where it's become normalized that people don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a fucking, you stand out as a man if you're able to communicate your truths and stand and not conform. Because it's like, it's almost an expectation for us to not speak and to conform. So, and I think now we're moving into a time where those qualities are so much more important. As the world is starting to change faster, at a faster rate with the internet, social media, technology, things are changing faster. And so I think, you know, for myself, I'm recognizing I have to look at my values. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are my values? Who am I? Like, what do I believe? What do I know? You know what I'm saying about myself? You know, knowing this now in this day and age is so crucial, because especially in an election season, especially when there's a culture war happening, when there's social implications. Knowing this about ourselves will make us stronger people and make us, I think at the end of the day, be able to have better discernment and make better decisions for ourselves and for our families. Sound like a politician. It sounds like some cliche rhetoric, but it's real, man. To know oneself, to fucking know yourself. You know what? Fuck all this shit. Maybe none of this shit matters. No, it does matter. I'm trying to be funny. But it does fucking matter, man. It fucking matters. But I'm not here to preach. You know what I'm doing? I'm letting my mind just like speak, communicate. Free associate how and communicate how I feel. And hopefully maybe I can speak for others. Or maybe someone else is feeling the same way. You know, I can only speak from my experience. I can only speak from my experience. But you know what? It's interesting is that we're all having a human experience. So a lot of us, we're feeling a lot of the same thing. And there's so many commonalities that we have as people that we're like, I think that like all this identity, like, and categorizations of humans, that it separates us. You know what I'm saying? And it's, if we get closer to what makes us human, our values, what we believe in, we're gonna find a lot of commonalities. People believe in their families. They believe in, you know, being healthy. People believe in joy and good experiences. I think that's just a normal human experience. And it's like, what the hell, man? What the hell? All this division, man. All this division is wild. And you know what I realized too? I'm like, you know what? I can get angry about it. I could be super pissed about it, or I could just accept this is what humans do. You know what I mean? And I could just like still have my beliefs about how we could be better as people and how we could come together as a community by communicating. You know what I'm saying? And to be able to agree to disagree on certain issues, but also realize that, you know what? Not everybody has to like everybody. Not everybody is going to agree with everyone. You know what? How about you live how you want to live? We'll live how we want to live. You know what I'm saying? And no more judging you and throwing rocks at your belief system. Don't throw rocks at my belief system. And you know what? Fuck it. If we don't all have to talk to each other every day, but if we're all under the same roof, at the end of the day, we're under the same fucking roof. So it's like, we gotta find a way to fucking like, at least, you know what I'm saying, get along as best as possible so that we can coexist. And maybe that's what we have been doing. And maybe that's what will happen naturally. That's what will probably happen naturally. But it's almost like when you have, I saw a meme on Facebook, it showed black ants and red ants. And it said that when they're together, there's no problems. It only becomes a problem when someone grabs the fucking jar and shakes it. You know what I'm saying? Someone grabs the jar and shakes it, and our society is kind of like that. Maybe there aren't really any fucking serious issues. There are serious fucking issues. But I'm saying that like on a day-to-day, you know what I mean? I see so many different types of fucking people, and we coexist. I don't agree with a lot of their decisions and their lifestyle, maybe their choices, possibly, but they probably look at me in the same way. You know what I mean? And that's totally okay as long as we're not like we're not killing each other. We can still be polite and respect each other's boundaries. Boom. But it's like there's a media machine, there's a fucking hand above the jar shaking this shit. You know what I mean? And it can make you think things are worse than they actually are. Make you think things are worse than they actually are. You know, it's interesting is because, you know, I was watching that thing about the KGB. I keep thinking of this word. It's called demoralization. And he was talking about how they like control a society and like, I don't know what it was basically, but propaganda, and they do things to demoralize the people. And it's like, it's almost like a process for control. And maybe we're going through that, and it's almost happening in real time, but it's happening slowly but surely, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's why I was saying like getting back to Christ, getting back to like spirituality and prayer, and you know, getting closer to like more of a, I guess, I don't know if metaphysical aspect to life. I guess just more prayer, man. We need more God. It's like, that's the only thing that can save us. That's like my only solution. I'm like, and I know that sounds fucked up, but it's like not just that. I'm also thinking like, man, we got to find like-minded individuals. We need to find strong people who exhibit, you know, great values. We need to be financially conscious. We need to find a way to pull our resources together and create economic communities that we're like finding ways to make more money, whether we're, you know, talking about it, we're communicating about it, or working together. We need to be thinking of how we can create more our sovereignty. How can we have more sovereignty in our lives so we can make more decisions, so that like, because it's like most people, this is the thing that I realized about the pandemic. I was like, wow, like if something global happens or nationally happens, most people can't just fucking like leave. They are subject to whatever laws are of the land. You know what I'm saying? The average person. And I was like, fuck, I don't ever want to be in that situation where my government tells me to stay in my house and put a mask on. I have to do that. You know what I'm saying? I because I'm tied to the land, my job is there, everything is there. And I'm like, man, I feel like there's nothing wrong with living somewhere and being and planting your flag somewhere, but not being able to, not having your sovereignty to be remote and mobile and move. I feel like that for me is like, it's such a fucking like, it's like always gnawing at the back of my mind. I don't like that. And I think that's because I grew up traveling a lot. My parents were in the military kid. So like, I'm just so used to like moving around a lot. And I think that like put that bug in my mind, not the bug, but gave me the belief in my mind. It made me realize how important that is, you know? It's almost like if you're in your house right now and your fire alarm goes off, like, do you know what you're gonna grab right now? Like, this is probably something you should be thinking about. Because like, in my apartment, fire alarm goes off the first time and I was like freaking the fuck out. I was like, oh shit, like, if this happens, what am I gonna get? Like, I don't have all my stuff together. You know what I'm saying? So that made me realize, like, so the second time, I'm like, I already have a bag set, boom, boom. I don't need any of this shit. I can just bounce. You know what I'm saying? I can move. I can be remote. And I feel like when you look at our lives, we're chained to our cities. I don't think people realize this shit. So it's kind of like whatever happens, happens. If the government tells you to stay in your house, you're gonna have to fucking listen. You can't just like fly out and live somewhere else unless you have the capital and you have the means for that. And that's what the goal is. We got to be able to fucking get to that ability. At least I do. I see a passport fucking sign right there. Maybe I need to go fucking get my passport. Not maybe, I have to get my fucking passport. Like, I think that's probably what it is. Get your passport, get your credit fixed. You need to have fucking great credit, passport. Find a fucking community, like a digital community, like on a Discord where there's where people are like, where there's other like-minded, financially free individuals or people striving for that and building a community, being a part of some community. You know what I'm saying? So you're not just a lone wolf. Like, all these things are important. I think like it doesn't matter what side of the fucking political spectrum you're on. Like the more deeper you get on, whether you're left or you're fucking right, I think all of it is like, I'm like, man, this is all bad. They're all bad. They're all bad. They're all trying to control. They're both focusing on on their agenda and the enslavement of us. Man, we're not part of the club. I don't think any of it's good. We think maybe some of it is good for some people, maybe, but I think a lot of this shit is like, I just feel like, man, we gotta step back, man. Come up with a fucking plan. You know what I'm saying? And think about this from a more like strategic chess perspective. You know what I'm saying? If this was chess, like, what can you do? You know what I'm saying? How much freedom do you actually have? You really start looking at your life and it's like, we don't really have as much freedom as we fucking think we do. We have, you know what we do have? We have our fucking voices. We have our voices. We do have our voices. You know what I'm saying? We have to look at what we do have. We have our voices, we have our fucking minds, we have our intuition, we have God, you know, we have our imagination, we have reason, we have logic, we have our emotion, we have faculties that can allow us to prosper. And so we have to be thinking more solution-based, because it's so easy to think like, there's nothing we can do. And that's the process of demoralization. Getting people to fucking think that there's nothing they can do and they're fucked. And that's what makes people turn into like quitters and just giver-uppers. You know what I mean? We can't feel it. We can't. That's why we have to have God, because when you have God, you won't give up. It's like the last. It's the last line of defense when it all said and done. You know what I'm saying? So we need to bring that. We need to bring God to the front lines. I'm working on it. I'm gonna work on it, especially in moments of confusion and misunderstanding and not knowing what to do. those are the moments, you know what I'm saying, so we don't slip into dark territories of hopelessness, because that shit can be really like, it's insidious. It can just really eat upon someone's psyche. We can't allow that to happen to us. Oh, thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to come here on live, you know what I mean? Like, when I don't go live, I almost feel like I'm like not doing my job. I'm like, dude, I'm supposed to be doing this. This is what I'm supposed to be doing every day. I don't think I know I don't have all the fucking answers. I know I don't have all the answers, and I know I'm not going to say things that everyone's gonna agree with, and I know some people are gonna fucking totally disagree with me and not like me. I totally understand that. I'm not somebody who thinks he's infallible. You know what I'm saying? I may say the wrong thing. I may say something in a year from now, 5 months from now, a week from now, I'll look back on it and be like, you know, I wish I didn't say it. Maybe I could have thought about that a little bit deeper. So, just kind of disclaimer. Yeah, you know, I hope. Come on. Thank you. Give me a sec. Let me see what you said. You had to share. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing the mission. Thank you. It is a mission. I want to stay on the mission. It's a beautiful day. It's like the weather is perfect. It's not too hot at all. But it's sunny. There's no cloud in the sky. It's a nice breeze. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, this is like the perfect weather. I wonder what, like, it's probably like 78 degrees, 75 degrees. Is there a place in the world where the weather is just like perfect, like literally the whole fucking time? Not too hot, not too cold, sun in the sky, barely any clouds. That's where I want to go. Back to the topic, Civil War. Yeah, I keep watching videos. I need to learn more about it. But they keep saying like there's a civil war that's going to happen. And there's going to be a secession. And I think that it's happening before our very eyes. I don't think that there's going to be a civil war. I think there is a civil war happening. I think we're actually in the middle of a civil war. And it's happening progressively. They wouldn't want it to be fucking, I mean, that's the only thing. Maybe we're not. And if it does become like something like where it's fact, like there's a war going on, there's people fighting, there's a secession of states from other states, and you know, there's violence ensuing, I feel like my only thought process is that the government would use that as a way to, you know, hyperbolize what's going on and use that to instill more fear into the people so that we can trade our our freedom for safety. Whether that's like they have more mandates, like basically the pandemic, but instead of a fucking virus, it's war. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's what's gonna happen. If there is a civil war that happens, like a real one, that's what they're gonna do, and they're gonna use that just so we trade our freedoms for more safety. I mean, we traded our freedoms during the pandemic. You couldn't talk about it. You couldn't make videos about it. You couldn't, you know, there was a lot of things that happened. We were told to stay in our houses. It was like and we willingly gave our freedoms away. And you can do that to people when you weaponize fear and you use scapegoats, whether it's like the children or the old folks, the elderly. You know, they can skew the data. They can do things to purport this fear on people so that they can say, hey, well, you know what? We'll give you safety, but you're going to need to stay in your house. You're going to need to do this. You're going to need to shut the fuck up. And you're going to need to take this vaccine. And everyone lines up to do all that. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, I feel like recognizing that and thinking like that and not thinking that your government would not do something like that, or would not manipulate you for their benefit. I think people not thinking like that and seeing that is crazy. And I'm like, man, like even I'm susceptible to that. Even I was susceptible to a lot of this manipulation. We all are. But I think no, just like seeing that and knowing that there is manipulation at play and that we're all susceptible to it, even yourself, will allow yourself to not just be a fucking like sheep, just like asleep and just turning on CNN and like, what did CNN say? And then, okay, and then what did my neighbor say? And what's my neighbor do? Okay, now let's do that. That's basically how people are. There's no like deep critical discernment that's happening. And I feel like we need to get back to that. Not everyone's going to though. Not everyone's going to. There are going to be people, and I guess that's what the Matrix needs. For the Matrix to fucking function, you need to have people asleep. Because people have to, you know, they have to do the job. They have to do the job. They have to follow the system. For a system to go, there needs to be someone following it, you know? And I think right now is the time for the people to wake, for those people who are like, it's like Neo, and he's half asleep, he's like trying to wake up, you know what I mean? He's like laying in bed, and he's waking up, and he wants to go back to sleep. He knows he wants to wake up. It's like now's the time to start waking up and be like, okay, and start thinking about life. Like, okay, like what's happening? What's going on? How do we fucking have more sovereignty? How do we see what's going on? Like, let's think more strategic. We got to think more like warriors, bro. Like, if this is a war, you know, that's how I look at it. Someone's got to think like this. But it's like the Matrix, yeah. So, I mean, if there is a civil war, it's almost happening. Like, there's certain cities, okay, like in the city that I'm in, when I go outside my house, I don't see American flags. I see rainbow flags. There is like, and I'm not saying this to criticize the gay community, which I do have my opinions on certain things about that. But when I look outside in this city, I'm like, oh, there are majority rainbow flags. You know, at first I was like, well, that's just, you know, it's just gay pride. Not a big deal. I'm not thinking about that. And then I thought about it a little more. I was like, okay, not only gay, like the rainbow flags, but when I walk into the businesses, it's sort of there's a certain setup with the type of people who are working the business, who own these businesses, and the rainbow flags out front. It's starting to feel like the rainbow flag is more actually like a government fucking, it's a entity. You know what I mean? It's a political party. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, oh, this isn't just like gay pride, rainbows. It's actually a political party, or it's a front for a political party. Extreme left, possibly, or the left. And I'm like, oh, this is a real thing. So it's like, there could be a fucking civil war because both sides are super extremely against one another. And they're totally people who are totally okay with the idea of secession. They don't want to, you know, associate with the other side. And it's pretty wild to think that, like, not only is it, you know, the division amongst black versus white race is weaponized and utilized for control, but then also the fact that, you know, like white people, European, Caucasians are being divided amongst their political affiliation. It's like, boom, right in front of you. It's pretty wild, man. But that's what made me start thinking of like, oh, this civil war thing is probably already happening because in the city that I'm in, this is like a gay city. I'm just keeping it real. Not everyone's gay here, but there are more rainbow flags than there are American flags. I see more rainbow flags outside of businesses, banks, you know, restaurants, just like everywhere. It's just very common. I'm like, oh, okay, that tells me that there's a political party, and the governor, it happens to be a lesbian, and so it's just like, you know what I mean? It's just a Democrat. It's kind of obvious. It's like it's like what it is, and I think they're creating a new society. This is like the new world order, and it's happening. And America might be split. The United States may look differently. And you know what? If I was gonna say Martin Luther King, we need a Martin Luther King. We need like a new Martin Luther King who comes in and he's like, one day I see Democrats and Republicans sitting together hand by hand in unity and justice for all. It is a new culture. It's absolutely new cultures. You know what? That's what's going to happen. The technology, the world is progressing. And I'm not saying all this stuff is bad. I'm not saying that the Civil War thing is necessarily bad. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that secession is bad. I'm not saying rainbow flag. I mean, that's the American flag right there. I'm not saying, oh, rainbow flag, rainbow's bad. I'm not saying America. I mean, I do have my opinions on both. But I'm saying that this is just what's happening, what I see. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe none of this is happening. And maybe it's something different. But I'm also speaking from the perspective of a black man. So I have other issues with like how that all pertains to me. Because a lot of times I'm like, even though this is happening, I look at both sides, the left and the right, from a black perspective. And I almost see them foundationally, and when you look at history, you know, not really fully, it's like supportive of me. You know what I mean? Maybe they're a little bit more, they utilize me, both sides use them for whatever benefit, but like ultimately, you know, they're not fighting for me. You know what I'm saying? They're fighting, you know. We are mixed and we agree that it is happening. It is happening. Revolution will not be televised. It'll be live streamed from the comfort of your homes. You know, the more I've grown and gotten to know who I am, I recognize how race actually has such a huge impact on our lives, and we try to downplay it, but I feel like it's like the more you like really look at history, and the more you look at maybe your timeline in life, if you've experienced like any form of racism, or if you've just been around environments where you were the only person of color, black, Hispanic, especially for black, you know, you start to realize like, oh, there's certain things that are just like written into this society that are like not gonna change. You know what I'm saying? Because this shit goes back like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, like the whitewashing of society. You know what I'm saying? And black being seen as inferior, and like this has been like a plan for like hundreds of years, maybe thousands. You know what I'm saying? With like through religion, through the Renaissance period, when you see the paintings, Jesus, and you see all these things, and I feel like race in America is like foundationally built on white and black, and like it's written in the Constitution. There's like, I was reading something about the Constitution being, you know, there's two constitutions. If you actually read it, there's one for white people and there's one for black people. And there's certain laws that are specifically made for black people, and that it's white and black, and people who are not, even if you're Spanish, if you're Asian, Indian, that you can actually be grouped into white. You know what I'm saying? So there's like specifically for black. It's pretty interesting. And I started realizing like, oh, maybe there's like, it's pretty interesting how it all kind of comes together. What do you guys think? Well, you know what? It made me start to look at myself and see how America has conditioned me to hate myself, or to prefer, you know, the white race over my own race, or even like, you know, I guess like not celebrate my blackness out of fear of like not being able to, you know, exist in a white world where it's about like, you know, moving up in a capitalistic structure and needing to get a better job and being able to be accepted in the community. You know what I'm saying? And it's like which direction you're gonna go. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really makes me want to like be. I guess the more it makes me realize that like there's certain culture that's written in America that's not gonna change, and the concept of whiteness being the majority and the superior, that's like written in the Constitution. It's written in the fucking it's written in the foundation of this shit. You know what I'm saying? And I guess when you're black, you know, we have to tolerate a lot more, and we just accept things, and we want to have a good life, and we want to be happy, and we want to, you know, go to the mall and have nice things, and we want to like have good experiences, you know, and we want to have a good life, you know. I'm speaking from I guess as a man, you know what I mean? I feel like, and I don't know, I don't want to be like sexist, but I think like maybe, you know, women aren't always thinking about these things. They're thinking about the day-to-day survival. You know what I'm saying? And like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I fucking don't know. I'm not a woman. I don't know what women think like. I don't know what women are thinking about on a day-to-day. Maybe I have an idea, but I don't know. I can tell you as a man what I'm thinking. And I'm thinking, oh shit, this motherfucking country is racist as fuck, man. These motherfuckers are still racist. That's what I'm thinking. And this shit is like, it's just fucking annoying, bro, because it's like, it's not like racism where they throw a rock at your face. It's like a paper cut racism. So like the racism in this country is death by 1,000 fucking paper cuts. You know what I'm saying? And I'm at the point where I'm at like 998 paper cuts. I'm at 998 and a half, bro. I'm like, fuck this, bro. I'm tired of tolerating just like the racism, bro. It's like the prejudiceness of society, and it's so annoying. And maybe it'll always be around in some capacity. And no matter what country you go to, there's gonna be some form of that. But I don't know, man. Maybe I'm like, fuck, I need to go to Africa, man. I want to step outside and everybody be motherfucking black. The motherfuckers at the bank are black. Niggas at the gas are black. I go in the grocery store, everybody's black. I just want to step out in a black world. I'm like, fuck, I need to go to Africa. Let me find a nice city in Africa. I'm moving there, where everyone's black. I just want to be in a world like that. I want to know how it feels to be white in America. Because when you're white in America, you step outside, everyone's white, right? You don't have to fucking worry about, you know, you don't feel, there's prejudice feeling. It's a glare that comes from people's psychic mind or through their eyes when they look at you. You don't have to feel that. You just go outside, you know what I'm saying? But when you're a person of color and you're black, you know, depending on the shade and depending on like how like, just, I don't know, the way you look or walk, it can just, people just look at you a certain way. When you go get a job, when you go to the grocery store, when you're in mostly all white spaces. And that shit can be annoying as fuck. It can be difficult to be yourself. And that's why I'm like, man, maybe I need to go to Africa. That's the only way. I'm not, you know what I mean? Because you can complain all day about racism. Motherfuckers ain't gonna change their racist ways. You know what I'm saying? Because racism is a fucking tool. It's beneficial for the people who use it to stay in power. From the fucking from the bottom of the pyramid to the top, it's useful. It's utilized. There is no incentive to stop being racist. There's no incentive. There are incentives actually. Fear of getting in trouble for being called a racist. So people do things. You know what I'm saying? They use black for, you know, certain things. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, to make real governmental change or change this fucking nation as a black person, like, you know what I'm saying? Only what would happen is like, it's like revolution. You know what I'm saying? Revolution. That'd be the only type of thing. But it's like, I don't know, man. It makes me just think like, man, I'm moving to Africa. I'm out of here. Where the fuck? I want to step outside and everyone be black. I want the bank teller to be black. I want the president to be black. I want my chiropractor to be black. When I take my kids to school, I want the teachers to be black. I don't mind seeing white people. I'm just saying I want to be in a society with a majority of black. Personally. At this point, I've spent enough time in America in a white society, and I think I've seen enough. I like it. I just want to know. I think I need to go to another environment just to pull me out of this conditioning of being an American. Because like, this is crazy to think about. Think about this shit. I was like, yo, to be an American fundamentally means you have to be a racist. If you're a patriot, like, and I like to think of myself as a patriot. Like, I always like, I love America. Like, I always felt like that way. But the more I look at the history of it, I'm like, oh, to be an American fundamentally means, it's almost like, to be an American and not be racist is like trying to be a Nazi. No, to be a proud American and not be racist is like trying to be a proud Nazi and not hate Jewish people. Like, how could you be like, I'm a proud Nazi, and then like still like Jews? Like, it's kind of like a conflict of interest. It's not like written in the fucking foundation in the belief system. Like, being an American, fundamentally, when you really look at it, how this country was built, it was built on the colonization of, you know, and the utilization of people of color, black people, Africa. You know what I'm saying? And this country, America, was built on genocide of the Native Americans and the Spaniards, the Spanish, and the human trafficking and enslavement of African slaves for 400 years. And then like from 1865 to motherfucking now, like, it's just the Black Code, Jim Crow, all these aspects. Bro, it's in it. It's right in front of your fucking face. It's right in our face. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, like, complaining about racism in America, I mean, it's like, you gotta stand up for yourself, but then it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, well, what did you expect? You're in America, dog. You know, you're gonna get it. But, you know, there's other places in the world that see black and see people of color or black people, and they're even more racist. You know what I'm saying? So maybe this is tolerable, but I don't like that. You know what I mean? I don't like that. That's why I'm like, I need to go to Africa. Or, you know what I'm saying? I need to go to Brazil or something. Or Jamaica. But it doesn't mean I hate America. I'm not an America hater. I'm just looking at the truth. I'm like, oh, let's just look at the truth. Let's look at what the country's built on. But you know what? When you start doing things like that, a lot of white people think you're attacking them. And it sounds like it a lot of times when black people, when we get really emotional and we talk about the history of America, we come at it from an emotional aspect. We're like, look what they did to us. They did this to us. They did that to us. And I think white people feel a little bit of guilt about that because my belief is that white people still feel guilty about it because they haven't truly owned up to like what this country's all about, because they still benefit from it, and they're just, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, you're not fully gonna like stop and end it and denounce the past. We'll just like, it's better just act like it didn't happen. You know what I mean? And just gaslight everybody. I would suggest you want to open your eyes. We do research on much of what you're talking about. There she is. Dr. Kennedy. Yeah, I'll definitely check it. I'm gonna take a picture. And I'm not here to attack white people. I do get angry sometimes at white people, a lot of times. But like, I do like white people. You know what I mean? I don't hate white people. And this is where the discrepancy is at. With white people, I need you guys to understand. You know, when a black person is angry at white people, we're not angry at you being, and this is where the fucking here, I'm gonna really break this down, it might be kind of crazy. I'm not mad at a white person for being white, because their skin is white, and they're from Europe, and they have straight hair, and they dance a certain way, and they like a certain type of style of music, and they have a certain type of I don't dislike them for you. I don't dislike white people for their culture. I like your culture, it's cool. Nothing, I'm not mad at it. I just don't like when you're racist towards me. Like, that's it. You know what I mean? Like black people being angry at white people has nothing to do with white people just being white. It's white people like subtly attacking us, covertly or overtly. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I think like with white people, it's like, dude, we're not attacking you guys. We're not being racist back to you. Like, and if we are, it's because of what you're doing. So don't you see that? And then that's where it's like, well, is that just what you do? Because it's like, is that part of your culture? You know what I mean? Is that just maybe that's just the negative aspect of that culture, that is what comes with it. Because like in black culture, in black American culture, there's certain aspects to things that we do that maybe are on the negative side. And it's also used and weaponized and used as a form of propaganda and entertainment. It's been capitalized and bastardized and sold back to us. It's a whole nother conversation. You know what I'm saying? And like, there's certain aspects to black culture that, you know, I guess like you could say is what holds us back. You know, but the crazy thing is the aspects, we have to be accountable to that, but at the same time is the negative aspects of black culture, and a lot of times are not even of our creation. They're literally created and redistributed back to us. And that's almost like another thing that make you even more, I guess, more emotional or angry. Because I'm like, yo, yeah, okay, the black on black crime, the gangsterism, the drug dealing, the street culture, you know what I'm saying, the degeneracy of our culture, the aspect of our culture that we have. White media companies, white companies own all of this, and they sell it back to us, and now we look at it like it's ours. It's a fucking crazy famoose, and that makes you even more mad at white people. And it's like, what the fuck? But then it's like, that's what tells you, like, it's capitalism. People will do whatever it takes for the money, and if it means selling cigarettes back to the people, and we all know cigarettes kill. You know what I mean? It's your choice. You made the decision. You bought it. You know. So, and people will do that. Humans will do that. You know. And I don't want to paint a picture like this is like a moral. And I look at it like it's almost it's like a moral issue. It's a morality issue. But it's like how trying to argue with people on morality is fucking. It's a big gigantic circle, because that's all baseless. It's all subject, and people will, you know, bend the rules to get to further their needs. We all do. There is balance. I have seen black people do the same to whites also. There have also been weaponized. Yeah, I mean, white people can be prejudiced. Black people can be. This is the thing. Black people can be prejudiced to white people. But let's be real. If a black person hates a white person, do they hate the white person for any reason other than the fact that that white person had did something to them, and historically has been doing things to them? Like, think about it. Like, if a white person in the middle of motherfucking the Midwest or in the South, there's some white people who don't associate with black people, who barely see black people. The only time they see black people is on their fucking phones, on television, when they watch sports. And they will be the most racist motherfuckers in the world. But they don't even know black people. But they'll be racist. They have an idea of who they think they are. And it's like part of their culture to hate black people. But then like with black people, it's like, yo, I have a reason to be mad at you. White people have like literally barely any reason to be mad at black people. Let's be real. If you're not even around us, it's, you know what I'm saying? I feel like the idea of racism with white people, it's like a fucking cult. It's a culture. It's like they drink the Kool-Aid and it's a culture. You know what I'm saying? And this is just what it is. And it's America, baby. As long as we drink the Kool-Aid, you know what I mean? We'll be all right. Because our fucking government will take care of us. Because they're white and they look like us. I don't think black people are fucking racist to white people for no fucking reason. Because we can't be. We could be prejudiced. We could be like, not like, no white people, we don't like white people around. But I feel like that's because of the fucking implications of what white people have done and what they're still doing. I think when you look at it for real, to be racist, the word racism is not just, I don't like you because your skin is black. Like, that's like prejudice. Racism is when it's like political, economic, and control over resources and monopolies and social rules and control over another group of people, and being able to enforce that on another group of people. Black people, we cannot deny white people bank loans, where they live, we can't try them and put them in jail and you know what I mean, for more than what they deserve. You know what I'm saying? We don't fucking we can't control whether they, you know, get approved for credit loans. We don't own the banks. Like, we don't own this shit. So we don't have an ability to exert that force on another race of people. And that's what people need to understand. And it's like, if I don't like a white person, I think that's I think there's a little bit of justification. Now, I'm not walking around here saying I don't like white people. I think it's wrong to just not like somebody based on what they look like. Because you don't know who they are. You don't know their character. You know what I'm saying? Because then it makes me no better if I'm gonna think just like them. You know what I'm saying? In reverse. It makes me no fucking better. You know what I'm saying? To do the same thing bad. But it also makes me not someone who's stupid. I'm not going to pretend that someone who doesn't like me actually likes me. You know what I'm saying? And be nice to them. Sometimes you have to draw the line in the sand and say, well, this type of person is probably an opposing force in some capacity. You know what I'm saying? Whether they're overtly about it or covertly about it. And you know what? I'm gonna accept that about that person and just not associate with that person. You know what I mean? But I feel like my thing in life now is just to have discernment and to look at people, you know, and I think, like, let's be real with white people. I'm gonna help white people out. Let me keep it real with you. Being racist is literally how they control you and turn you into a slave. That's the fucking move. And this is the thing. This is why I know I'm a genius. I'm a fucking genius, because a genius can see what others can't see and can bring it into reality. White people, if white people knew this, their minds would explode. If they realized that the concept of racism and them thinking that they're the majority and we are the minority, them believing that is what keeps them drinking the Kool-Aid of Americanism. So and then believing in the state and thinking your government loves you and cares about you because your government is white. And the government, we know subconsciously and consciously that the government doesn't actually love black people and care about black people as much as they care about us. So that's what the government does. They fucking make you think that we are, you know what I'm saying, that we're the ones that they don't like, but really they don't. They're controlling the white people so that you trust them more. So you think that they care about you. They don't. You're just a cow on the fucking farm, and they need to keep you controlled. You're the bottom bitch of the hoes. You know what I'm saying? The assembly of hoes and the fucking pecking order. And you're just you're still one of the hoes, bro. And they're just they're using that on you to control you. That's what what's his name? Lyndon B. Johnson said. He has a quote. He said, if I can get the poorest white man to think he's better than the poorest black man, the poor white man will not know that we're fucking stealing from him. Hell, he'll give us his fucking money. He will love us. It's almost like the pimp saying to his white hoe, hey baby, you know what I mean? Those black motherfuckers over there, my black hoes, she's not good. I love you more. I love you more. I love you more. I love you, white. I love you, white hoe. I love you more than that, my black hoe. And so the white hoe says, oh my God, my pimp loves me more. You know what? I'm gonna do more things to make my pimp happy. I'm gonna work harder. I'm going to agree with everything he says more. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna support him because my pimp loves me more. That's basically what he's doing. That's what the pimp does when he has two hoes. He manipulates them. He says, from what I read in the pimp book, I gotta read more of Iceberg Slim, his book, but he's basically saying, like, look, and that's what Dave Chappelle was saying. Look, I make you feel like I love you more so that I can get more out of you. So I can control you more. So that you can be my, you know what I mean? You can be my best hoe. You know what I'm saying? My best hoe fucking follows all my orders, listens to everything I says, fucking works harder. And that's what you look at white society. And it doesn't question anything, just fucking follows orders. You look at most white people, they're more susceptible to following more orders and to being controlled over time. But that's changing now. Now you're seeing this division where, like, people it's like white people are waking up, basically. it's the great white awakening. White people realize that their government doesn't give a fuck about them. And this has all been a famoose, and they've been controlling you this whole time. And they just basically been manipulating you through the media so that you don't question how badly you're getting fucked by the fucking economic structure. And you keep working just so you're smart enough to keep showing up to your job, fucking pressing the computer buttons, but not, and just distracted and dumb enough not to question your reality. And then guess what we'll do? We'll create a culture where it's not cool to talk about politics. It's not cool to talk about money. It's not cool to talk about religion. It's not cool to talk about any of those things, even though those are the motherfucking things that we focus on all the time, every day. So we'll create a culture like that, and that will keep people controlled. And then we'll divide them amongst race. We'll divide them amongst sex. Their sexuality, their gender, the color of their skin. We'll make all this shit confusing as fuck, and we'll just, yeah, they'll be our puppets. Not our puppets, they'll be our fucking slaves. And then we'll use the celebrities to control them. Those are the puppets, the celebrities, to sell them things. You know what I mean? To sell them on ideas, cultural ideas, political movements, products. But you know what? That is the nature of reality, of government. You know what I'm saying? If you read Animal Farm, I think what Animal Farm is basically saying, look, even if there was a revolution, there would be a good time where things would change, but then eventually that power would corrupt, and it's just like a cyclical nature, and it's just the human nature of humans like exerting power over other humans, and it is what it is. And I think my awakening is just me seeing that, learning to pull my emotion out of that, and asking myself, what can I do? What can we do? How can I have more sovereignty so that I'm not controlled by this fucking circus? And how can I focus myself? Focus myself on what is truly important, what truly matters. You know what I'm saying? And thinking long term. And working on being less selfish and being more selfless when it comes to thinking like, you know, I don't have any children, but I want to have children. So thinking like, you know what, what kind of life do I want to be able to provide for my children when I have kids in the next 5, 10 years? We'll see, you know? Thankful for everything though, because I'm like, you know what? I may not know everything, but I know what the fuck I know, and I know I'm not crazy. I'm batshit crazy. No, man. Maybe I should go maybe I should just go more extreme. That'll get people paying attention. We're fucked, ladies and gentlemen. You're fucked. No, if you want to be more extreme, I'll be real. We are fucked, ladies and gentlemen. We're fucked. If you're not thinking about how to fucking make millions of dollars, or at least be able to make money off your phone, at least have your own independence, you're fucked. Because your government is going to take more of your rights away. They're coming for more of it. Your freedoms are going to be taken away from you. You're going to wake up, and you're going to have a fucking computer chip in your fucking brain, because they've already conditioned you to the concept of putting something in your body that's foreign, like a fucking, like a dildo now, like a fucking vaccine. So boom, they already conditioned the people. So now all they got to do is scare people into fucking getting Neuralink. People will line up and get their Neuralink. They're gonna put information in that to control the motherfuckers. It's happening, bro. That's what's gonna happen in the next 5 to 10 years. It's gonna be a social credit system. You have to think certain thoughts. They're gonna control the minds. That's the next level. I swear, this whole fucking planet has already been fucking taken over. Someone has already conquered the planet. It's like the aliens have already conquered us. Whenever the aliens came, they already conquered us. This whole planet has already been conquered. It's already been conquered. The aliens have already conquered this shit. It's gotta be aliens, bro. At the very tip top, it's gotta be something alien. You know what I mean? At the top of the government, over BlackRock and Vanguard, over all of them, there's gotta be some alien entity that's controlling all this shit. That's what I believe. That's what I'm starting to think. And like, that's why Elon Musk is like, we need to go to another planet. Elon Musk is like, yo, we gotta go to another planet. We gotta think bigger. Like this planet has already been conquered. They're slowly conquering it. They're slow, and it's a 200-year plan. Maybe it's 1,000. It's maybe it's 1,000 years in the making, and it's slowly starting to happen with AI, technology, the police state, Big Brother, everything being watched. It's pretty crazy. We're gonna take more of our freedom. We have to get free, man. We have to be free. We have to fucking get free, man. We have to fucking come up with like a business, man. That's why I'm like, man, I need to be just making content. I want to be a content creator. That's what I got to do. You know what I'm saying? And then reinvest those profits into having assets, digital assets. We need digital assets. You know what I'm saying? Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. How do we become more free? There's a spiritual component, it's the mind, and then it's the fucking physical, you know, it's the finances, it's the network, it's the ability to travel, it's your having great credit, it's having these, you know, having these ducks in line. That'd be so dope if there was some sort of system that can like literally fully get someone back on their feet, like fix your credit, does this. And it's like a full-on plan that like a restructure for someone to fully be back on their feet, to be restructured. There needs to be like a system for that, a rehabilitation, especially if you fucked up your credit, if you got loans, you got this, you got that, you got a record, you know, there needs to be something where it just makes it so much more seamless. So people can like, you know, and then like some sort of loan where they help you start a business. It helps you get like fully become a sovereign individual. There should be some sort of thing like that. Like, escape the matrix. This is the sovereignty program. We first start with the spiritual. You must free your mind. It's like a full-on system. You go there. It's basically the matrix. Basically Morbius. No one would willingly go there though. You don't willingly go. The choice must be made. You must be given the choice. I mean, in the Matrix, Neo was being given signs. Neo felt in his heart and soul that something wasn't right. He knew something wasn't right. And he had to make a choice. Whether he was gonna go to sleep, or he's gonna fully wake up and see the fucking truth. You know, I was reading something about, I think it's in the 48 Laws of Power. Basically, it was saying that if you want to be liked, don't talk about the fucking truth, the realities of the world. People don't like having their realities fucking shattered, or at least being questioned. Because then it makes them question everything about themselves, whether their spouse, their job, their car, what they do for a living, everything. You know what I'm saying? And so people prefer fantasy. People prefer entertainment. People prefer talking about things that really don't have any real world implication, because it's easier. And so if you're the person who's always kind of talking about real shit, you know, you can be kind of seen as a burden. People that are unattractive. You know, that's why I get on. That's why I get on live. I'm like, damn, at least now I can just talk. You know what I mean? Fuck. I be wanting to say so much shit, but I be like, damn, most people don't. It's like, to get that out of people, sometimes it's like, man, is it even worth it? It's worth it when it's time for it, and when there's no fucking other option, for sure. But sometimes it's like, you know what? Let it be what it is. Use the phone. Can we counter your vote for Kamala Harris? Why should I vote for Kamala Harris? Give me the reasons why. What is your reason? Why do you suggest I vote for Kamala over Donald Trump? I think no matter what happens in this election, no matter what happens, there will be a civil war, no matter who wins. If Kamala Harris won, people are going to suspect that they rigged the election. They have done in the past. And those guys, the people of the January 6th, they already showed you what they'll do. You know what I'm saying? They'll fucking storm the Capitol. So there's people like that in our society. There's probably militias already being built and started. But then you have and that's the extreme right. And then you have the extreme left, where you have the Antifa crowd, the type of people that wanted to assassinate Donald Trump. So you have these two extreme opposing sides. No matter who goes in office, it's going to clash. No one's going to be happy. If one side's happy, the other side's not going to be happy, no matter what. And both of these sides are fucking fed up with the way where America's at, and they want the conflict. Don't you think we need a woman president for a change? I don't think it's about needing a woman president for a change right now. I don't think this is the time for that type of like thinking, because I think right now, I think that thinking is too biased. Yeah, we do need a woman. Yeah, we need a woman president. Maybe we need a Mexican president. We need a Native American president. We need a dark African, black, dark-skinned president who's full black American, not like a half a black American. We need a lot of these things, but it's not about what we need. It's not about just voting, because that's the thing. That's how they're controlling you. It's called identity politics. They get you to vote not for what's beneficial for the good of the society. They're utilizing, oh, I'm black, or I'm white, or this Trump represents white Americans in that society. So they just latch on to that. This is how they got, what's up, man? This is how they got Obama in office. It's identity. Black people voted for him because they saw a black man. A lot of times it wasn't about like the actual man's policies. And that's what's happening now. They're not focusing. People are not looking at policies. They're looking at the fact that it's a woman. Oh, we just need a woman. It's like, well, what does that woman believe? There's a lot of women. Like, we don't just need a woman just because he has a vagina and she thinks like a woman. We need, like, what does she believe in? You know what I'm saying? And I can see women wanting to see that, because then there's like, all this stuff about abortion, rights for women, and I can see that being like on their mind. It's like, but it's like, and I just look at it and I'm like, damn, I think that like, that's how they weaponize it, because this is how, all these political parties, the left and the right, they weaponize identity to get you to vote for them and to pressure you into voting collectively as a collectivist group so that they can further their agenda, whatever they have to going on. So they use us as pawns. They use women as a pawn. They use black people, especially the Democrats. That's what they're doing. They use gay people, blacks. That's their pawn. That's their control. That's how they manipulate us by using us to rally behind their fucking agenda. And so that's why I don't just trust just because I see a black up anytime in some Democrats. It's because you see and this is the whole thing about identity and everything. If you're a white person, just because you see a white person who's on that podium, that doesn't mean that person is for you just because they're skin. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how they trick us with identity. You could think, especially with black people, let's say a black person, just because you see a black man on that stage, that doesn't mean he is there to because for the benefit of black people. He could be just there to get black people to be supportive of that party. You know what I mean? That's why they would put Kamala Harris there. They need to get the women base. They need to get black women base. They need to get the women of color. That's a strong, you know what I'm saying? It's a competition, man. It's votes. You know what I'm saying? But then it makes you wonder, well, is there even a choice? And it's all just a cultural thing, and maybe the choice is already made, almost like a boxing match, or it's rigged. Is the world? I would make the assumption that it is rigged, because most things in our world are rigged. Most industries are rigged. And so I think the solution to all this shit is to take a step back and not get wrapped up in these. I mean, at some point, you may have to make a decision about what side you're on. But I feel like step in the back and be like, man, I'm on the human race, I'm on the human team, and you guys want to fucking do all this shit, man. I just want to like move to a whole nother country and build my own life and just get away from all this shit. And maybe, you know, it's always going to be around government, humans being at odds. It's a part of life. But it's like, damn, man, being an American be kind of, that shit be kind of annoying as hell. It could be annoying as hell too, especially when like, you know, when you watch this shit all day on the news, but then when you walk around in society and people don't talk about it. So it's like everyone's thinking about it, but no one wants to talk about it. People are afraid of being called a racist. People are being afraid of, you know, being that guy to bring up the political stuff. And people are afraid to say they vote for this person. If you, in some circles, if you say you want to vote for Trump, that's like saying you want to vote for Hitler to some people, and they'll automatically write you off. You know what I'm saying? So people are almost afraid to even talk about this shit. The average person. You know what I mean? It may seem like people are talking about it because you go on the internet and you go on YouTube and there's all these videos, but when you walk in day-to-day life, culturally, it's almost not like cool to talk about things. And even if you do talk about it, people are very much in this people-pleasing, you know, fucking mindset where they see things like that. And like, so they're not gonna say the real truth. You know? That's the problem, man. They're not gonna say the real truth. We need truth. I wanna make a talk show where two opposing sides fucking talk and debate and say their piece. And it's gonna be like, it's like Jerry Springer. But for politics, for like race and political and sex and like, but not fighting. And that's not Jerry Springer. That's when it gets bad. That's when it gets trashy. But it's got to be like people. There's got to be some emotional aspects. Maybe people start yelling. Maybe people are like getting out how they feel. You know what I'm saying? And this is not a show for black people to yell at white people. Because maybe that's where it stems from. I'm like, man, I just want a fucking show where I can tell white people how I feel about it. And I bet white people be feeling the same thing about black people. I know white people do. I know white people do, man. That's how you know white people are controlling anything about things. The fact that you can't say anything or have any critique on another culture is basically how they control you. It's kind of like with the gays. They did that with the gays. They did that with the blacks, and they did with the gays. They make it where you can't say anything about the gay community, or you're a homophobe. You know. So now, and so what happens is you create a society where people are just forced to tolerate, and then we hate each other, and realize it's like it's all happening from the fucking top. You know what I mean? And we shouldn't look at each other with hatred. You know what I mean? We shouldn't. But I don't hate anyone or dislike anyone unless they've done something to me to transgress me. If I see that and I know that they willingly did it, or an accident, no, not even an accident. If they willingly did it and they feel no remorse for that, that's when I don't like somebody. It's very difficult for me to not like somebody. Very difficult. I don't care if you're walking around and you're wearing a fucking, I don't know, Godzilla I don't even know. I was gonna say Godzilla fucking costume. Like, let's say everywhere you went, you were the guy that wore the Godzilla costume. I wouldn't not like you because you wore that. I'd be like, well, that's an interesting person. Maybe that person wouldn't be my friend. I probably wouldn't agree with their decision to do that for myself. But you know what? Live your life, man. Do your thing. I would like to get to know you. But I'm not. Some people, we're like trained to judge each other and not like each other based on appearance. Like, boom, I don't like that person. Oh, well, you know what? That person's Democrat. I'm a Republican. I'm supposed to not like them. That person's black. I'm white. I'm supposed to not like them. That person's this. I'm supposed to not like them, so I'm not gonna like them. You know, that I think that mindset is what creates stupidity. Like, think about it. It creates racism. Is what makes white people stupid. I'm telling you, racism is what makes white people stupid. Think about it. Racism tells you to be prejudiced and create a blanket belief system about another person that you don't know. And so you're basically telling your brain not to critically think. Because critical thinking would say, well, Just because that person looks like that, maybe that person isn't what I'm assuming. But if you were just drink the Kool-Aid, the culture of racism, it basically tells you to just assume things about people that you don't even know, automatically not like them, and don't critically analyze and think. So to be racist, the more racist you are, probably the more stupid you are. Like literally, the more racist you are, probably the more dumber you are. And you could be a fucking intelligent idiot, but the more further along the lines you are of that, the less likely you're critically thinking. And if you're not going to critically analyze that situation, it means you're probably not going to critically analyze other situations. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it just makes you the type of human who doesn't critically think. A human that doesn't critically think, like, you know, children, for instance, they typically lack the ability to just critically I mean, kids are fucking genius in a lot of ways, but someone who cannot critically think is more susceptible to being controlled, right? Because they're not going to think and analyze situations. They're just going to go along with things because the group says to go along, so we got to go along. Even critically, if you think about it, it's probably wrong to get along. So if you really think about it, I think the government purported racism and made racism a cultural aspect of America, not just political, but a social cultural aspect of American nationalism, patriotism, and what it means to be an American, and wrote that in the fabric to control the white people, so that the white people do not critically think. So the white people does not critically analyze the black man and just look at him and make a judgment and assume that he's a bad person. Just assume that. And white people agreeingly drink that Kool-Aid because that Kool-Aid gives them benefits to believe that supremacy. Because, you know, there's economic implications, your community, it's part of the culture, it's part of our group. But really what it's doing is just making you someone who lacks the ability to critically analyze situations. It allows them to exploit you even more. This is all what I've been saying, this whole fucking thing. But you could say this to white people all day and it's too much information. They'll still look at you and be like, you're stupid. You're dumb. They're still like, shut up, monkey. You're a nigger. Just like still just automatically, because you know what I mean? And that's the stupidity of it. And it's like, well, you can't argue with stupid. But let you motherfuckers be stupid, man. Let them think whatever they want to think. They're retarded. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're idiots. Like, okay, in society, you're gonna have idiots. You gotta have idiots. You know what I'm saying? There's idiots on both sides, man. And we all do idiotic things. I'm not saying I've never done something idiotic. It's quite human to be irrational. We're irrational beings. And we rationalize our irrationalizations. What I want to do is I want to read the book Powernomics, which is a book about the economic empowerment of Black America. And what I found in that book is some insightful information. Insightful because it really gives you a real understanding of kind of the environment and the world that you're living in from a Black perspective. It says in the book that, and this book was written 20 years ago, but I could argue that things probably haven't changed as much. But it said that Black Americans only own a half of 1% of this country's wealth. We only own half of 1% of this country's wealth. Think about that. And they said at the time of the Emancipation Proclamation, Civil War, ending of slavery in America, Black Americans only own half of 1% of the country's wealth. Think about that. So if that's the same, like, we're basically like, that's how comfortable we are, man. How distracted, how far in the program, bro. The program is deep, dog. We're in the motherfucking matrix, dog. Damn. They already got us, dog. It's too late. It's too late, cuz. They got us. We're already hypnotized and warped by the brainwashing engine. They got us. It's not over, but I'm just saying, man. It ain't too late. feel like if you're watching this, if you're someone who's tuning in and you're watching this, I'm gonna say this. You're an insider. You know how everybody's been saying like, yo, we outside, I'm outside, we outside, back outside, boys, you know what I'm saying? Bro, fuck being outside. I'm on the inside. Nigga, I'm an insider. Shit. Y'all niggas outside because y'all can't get in. I'm on the inside. You know what I'm saying? You know how they say when you got insider secrets, you got inside information? This is for the people who are like, I'm not saying I know there's levels to waking up, but I know that I'm a little bit more waking up than the average motherfucker. And I know I'm more on the inside. And I can see what's going on in our world. And I can see where it's headed. And my only solution is we gotta find God. And we need to be motherfucking more. We need to be more fucking hungry and more focused on our sovereignty and our freedoms. And realizing how controlled we are by the distractions, the entertainment, celebrity culture, the politics, and just the dollar bill, man. It's like we gotta get it, but like the way that, I don't know, man. We gotta think bigger about this shit. I've been looking at credit. You know what I'm saying? They've been saying with credit, you fix your credit score. You know, you can use trade lines. And you can get a business loan up to like 100 bands, bro. Credit, you can use credit to get money, to get capital. And then you can start a business, corporation under your name, and you can write off taxes on where you live, because that's your business office, on your car, if you're using it for travel. Like, use a lot of things. You have to find the loopholes to escape the financial matrix. You know what I mean? Escape the financial. There's like multiple matrices. There is the matrix of your own mind. You know what I'm saying? And then you have the matrix, the social matrix. There's a financial matrix, political matrix. They all kind of play amongst each other. I believe that I have this, you know, stepped out of a lot of the social matrix. It's very difficult for a lot of people because they rely on the social matrix. You know what I mean? We all rely on these matrices to some capacity. But we have to, you know what I mean? I think like being able to see where if we're relying on that and that is hurting us and that's stopping our growth. And that's becoming more of like, it's not really relying on that, it's actually feasting on us. You being a part of the tribe and you like not being real about who the fuck you are and you siphoning off your authenticity and selling out in order to fucking coexist with people fully. I feel like that aspect as a person, we have to overcome that. Most people probably won't overcome that. I already lost like 60% of the motherfucking crowd. Because then, you know what I'm saying? The reason why is because to fucking challenge your own social matrix means you have to challenge your entire world. If your whole world is reinforced and built upon, you know, inauthenticity with a lot of people, it is. Whether it's your job you work at, your friends, your own spouse. A lot of people are only really half of who they are. You know what I mean? And they make primarily most of their decisions on not what they want to do, but will allow them to look good in front of the tribe so that they can still fit in with the tribe. This is what most people do. They sell out. We sell out. I think we sell out and we don't even realize we sell out. People sell out. But human beings, I gotta cut us some slack because we live in fucking fear. Fear is a lot stronger than love in a lot of capacities. Not all the time, but in the short term it is. And so, I mean, at the end of the day, I try to cut people from slack. But there's the social matrix, right? And then you got the motherfucking financial matrix. The social matrix, financial matrix, political matrix. I feel like to break out of the financial matrix you're gonna need to find people who have already or on the path to breaking out of that, where their time and their energy is not being controlled by a corporation completely, where they have more autonomy and more agency to be who the fuck they actually are. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just for like the artist types, the rebel types. You know what I'm saying? It's where a lot of people, it's where it struggles, you know, as a man, like, you know, for a lot of artists. I saw this meme where it was like this kid was asking his dad. He was like, "Dad, when I grow up, I want to be an artist." And his dad said, "You can't be both. You can't do both." Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm glad you like my hair. But his dad said, the kid says to his dad, he says, "Dad, when I grow up, I want to be an artist." And his dad said, "Son, you can't do both." And I thought about that and I was like, okay, like, he's not, I think when he says growing up, he's saying this not in a mature aspect, he's saying in the aspect of conforming. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people conform because in order to fit in with the capitalistic structure, getting a job, you know, and being accepted in the communities, you have, and to be in the corporate sense, you have to, in some capacity, you know, conform. Some people are designed for that. You know what I mean? This is what education system, the traditional values of a community, the culture, it's almost designed so that people will conform, naturally conform. But then you have the artist types. You know what I'm saying? The musicians. And I think that musicians, the artists, the creators, there comes a time where the pathway is like, either you're gonna choose to go all the way as an artist or you're gonna try to tiptoe back and forth. And that's something I've struggled with. You know what I'm saying? I've definitely struggled with that. You know? But I feel like your identity and knowing who the fuck you are and standing within that, you know, it comes with sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? It definitely comes with sacrifice. Because when you're more vanilla and more easy to categorize, you're more controllable, and you're more of like, you know, a lot of people are like that in our world. They're easy, and it's like they're easy or higher. I feel like, you know, I mean, I made the choice by tattooing my face that I wasn't going to go a traditional corporate route, and I'm glad I did, because now, like, it makes me the man that I am, and it's symbolic of, you know, things that I stand for, which is like originality and authenticity and innovation. I stand for that. I believe in that. And challenging the status quo. I just saw your videos. You look even better with black hair. Oh, thank you. That's my natural hair color, is brown. I think I'm gonna keep it like this, and then I'm gonna add some more to it. Maybe I'll make it a little like more creative. I gotta make it more pizzazz. That's what I realized too. I'm like, you know, being an artist, if I'm really gonna be serious about as a content creator, I'm gonna work on looking you guys in the eyes, you know, better eye contact. In order for me to become a better artist, a better content creator, you know what? I realize I'm gonna have to like be more creative with my image, which means that that's gonna push me away from more of the middle base, vanilla, you know, one size fits all, fit in with society kind of image. And I realize that like that's making me more, you know, that means I have to go all the way to succeed. You know what I mean? Because that's the only way, man. There's a quote that I heard. It says, "When you're crazy, they think you're nuts. But when you're batshit crazy, they make you their leader." I gotta look crazy. Maybe you'll pay attention more. You'll be like, this guy has lost his fucking mind. Maybe he knows what the fuck he's talking about. What do you guys want to talk about? What did this video start off? Oh yeah, the video title was Civil War. Are we gonna have a civil war? You guys think it's gonna happen? I believe we're already in a civil war. I believe it's already happening. The revolution will not be televised. It will be live streamed from the comfort of your homes. You should be nothing for others if you're everything for yourself. You know, I feel like the more that I can be myself and live my life with fulfillment and authenticity of my path, the more selfless I can be. Because it's like I got myself covered. You know what I mean? I'm being all the way 100% who I want to be, and now I don't have to like. Now it's like you can think about others. You know what I'm saying? Rather than like constantly like jumping back and forth. It's like it's almost like the more selfish you are, you know what I mean, and the more you're taken care of, the more you can help others. You can think about things that are bigger than yourself. But if you're constantly trying to please others and going back and forth, you're never fully giving yourself like the full 100% charge on the battery. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? But yeah, we're gonna have a civil war. I think we're in the middle of a civil war right now. I think right now there is a civil war happening. I think that it's only going to ramp up, and I think there will be a secession. I think that it's happening in real time. In the city that I live in, I don't see American flags, I see rainbow flags. You know what I'm saying? I see rainbow flags. And so I'm not critiquing the LGBTQ community. I'm not critiquing them. I'm just saying that I see, it's like an obvious line in the sand. It's an obvious division where I don't feel like America. It's almost like this new America, this rainbow America. And I think that is not going anywhere. And I think there will be a secession between the Democrats and the Republicans. Like, what else could happen? We're almost like at the, when you have Donald Trump, like, running for president, like a celebrity, you know what I mean? A celebrity entertainer, you know what I'm saying, as running for president. It's almost like, it's like we've reached the point where it's like, where else is it gonna go? You know what I'm saying? And people are, it's so much division on beliefs. You know what I mean? Like, maybe things will be better if there is a civil war. There is division. I don't want to say that I want bad things to happen and people to be hurt. I'm just saying, if we can't get along, then fuck it. Maybe there needs to be a separation. You know what I'm saying? But maybe we are getting along, and the only thing that we think is happening is actually a perception. We think we're not getting along because the media is making it appear that we're not getting along. But when you go out into the world, you know, I think most people just want to have a good day, and they don't want to have any problems with anybody. And even if we all have different beliefs, we find ways to coexist. And so maybe, you know, that's really what it is, man. Stepping outside and touching grass and just like communicating to people. And, like, you might meet someone who's just totally different from you, and you realize like, oh man, there's a lot of commonalities between us, even though we're totally two different types of people. You know what I mean? We'll see. I'm gonna holler at you guys. I'll be back. It's been a great video. It's been very interesting. It's been a great talk. But I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna charge the phone, and I'm gonna, you know, do some more research. I gotta learn some more. Do some more research and more meditation. Learn more and unlearn more. Anyways, peace.